walking the dog in my shorts and t-shirt this afternoon and Friday night. So 48 hours from right now, I'm gonna be freezing my butt off at a football game.
Wow. Yeah.
So let's see.
Yeah, it's supposed to be colder here, but it's all right at the minute.
Yeah, I could take this. This is what it reminds me of, like being in Florida in December.
Yes.
Exactly. I could take this. Hey everybody, happy I can't remember what day of the week it is. It's Wednesday night. And we're getting ready to record with Julian. Now we have a treat for you because Julian's over in England. So we're going to talk some Disneyland Paris tonight. Mix it up here. We had some Disney Cruise Line coming your way on Friday show, Disneyland Paris for Monday. Going all over the place. So hope you enjoy this. And we'll get cracking. So we get the levels right. And we'll get going. Good there. Okay. 2189. Let's do a podcast. Here we go. All right. Welcome to episode 2189 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Again, hope you always had a great weekend as you tune in here on Mondays to get your trip report fix. And usually we're headed down to Walt Disney World or out on the West Coast to Disneyland. Sometimes we head out to sea with Disney Cruise Line, but we have a treat for you today. Today, we're going to talk about a destination we very infrequently get to. Never been myself, and excited to talk about this one. We're headed over to England with one of our listeners. Julian's joining us today, and I got to thank him because he is staying up super late for this interview. Julian, I should say good morning to you because it is past midnight as we record. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's an absolute pleasure, Mike. Very nice to be here.
I appreciate you so very much. So how are things over in England this time of year, getting ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all? Well, you guys don't do Thanksgiving. I mean, yeah. So how's
no, we don't. We don't do Thanksgiving. We do Black Friday now. That's a big thing. We've taken that from you. In fact, the whole month is now Black Friday. The sales have already started, and but a couple of weeks and then it get ready for Christmas.
You could celebrate my birthday because my birthday is the Sunday after so it's the 27th of November. So the whole England,
fantastic.
If you're gonna do Black Friday, because I hate shopping. Like, I'm excited that around here it's kind of gone the opposite direction. A lot of our stores now are closing on Black Friday. So my wife and everybody stays home because they used to leave right after we'd have our turkey on Thursdays and everybody would go out shopping. I mean, it was kind of nice because then I'd sit there and watch football and eat leftovers.
I was going to say, you get a day of sport.
I can't, now that I think about it. No, just kidding. We're taking the family home. So I'm glad to have you on the show. So let's talk about.
It's good to be here.
So I've been asking people about like what their corner of the world is known for. So where in England are you located, and what would people maybe know your little corner of the world for? Like, is there something famous near where you're from?
Not really. We're a tiny. So the nearest city to us would be Manchester, but we're probably about 45 minutes to an hour from Manchester. We're in a tiny little village. There's maybe 7,000 people, and we were known for nothing apart from a certain somebody became very famous. So it's the birthplace of Harry Styles. He grew up in our village, went to school in our village, worked in our village. So that literally is all we're known for. So we now, it's a bizarre, with this quaint little English country village, and we now get hordes of screaming girls coming, searching for where Harry grew up and where Harry worked, and very odd. But that's about it, really.
You guys are famous for producing all the famous Harrys. You got Harry Potter.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Very good. Very good. All right. So give me some background on your Disney fandom, because I find that very, interesting for folks that are outside the United States. Of course it is. He's an American icon. He grew up in Missouri, in the state where briefly. I mean, you would think the guy spent his whole life in Missouri the way we grab onto him.
Yes, absolutely.
Like a year and a half when he was 3. But I went up to, the farm and I sat under the tree. I did all the stuff. Like, he's our guy. But, you're far away. So what's it like growing up, as a Disney fan? How do you make that connection over there?
I don't know. I mean, I think we went, obviously we watched the movies growing up. We had the TV and the movies, and that was great. I went with my family when I think I was 16 to a trip to Florida, and it was a typical British trip to Florida back then was a week in Walt Disney World, and then you'd go down to the coast, St. Petersburg, for a week or something like that. So we did that when I was 16. Loved the theme park, so that was great. Then did nothing until I think about 97. Went to Disneyland Paris with my now wife, and really loved the parks. It was just the two of us. Then went to Florida on our honeymoon in 99, and then had children. And then I think we've been about 25 to 30 times in the last 20 years.
So you've been that many times to Walt Disney World or to Paris?
No. We've probably been to Paris about 25 times, and Florida, I think I've been about 5 or 6, and then we've been to California once.
Okay, so we got a lot to digest here in this 35-minute window. So I really want to talk about this because I find this so interesting. So let me ask you this: geographically, how far are you, and what is the travel like to Disneyland Paris? Because obviously that's your air quotes local park.
Yeah.
What's it like to get there, and what's a trip look like there? Is that like a long weekend? Is that somewhere you go for a week or just for a day? I mean, how's that usually go for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's distance-wise, we would normally fly from Manchester Airport, and it's about an hour and 10-minute flight to Paris, and then it's about 30 minutes in a coach or a taxi from Paris down to the parks. This particular trip we're going to talk about, I drove. So it was a 4-hour drive to Dover, jump on the Channel Tunnel, which is 30 minutes, and then about a 4-hour drive down to the parks. So it's about 500 miles, which is a long way for us. I know it's nothing for you guys, but it's a massive drive for us. But yeah, I suppose Paris, it would be, I think the longest trip we've done would be 6 days, but normally it's a 2 or 3 nighter.
Cool. Okay, so let's dive into the trip you contacted me about to talk about it. Then, at the end, I do want to kind of get your thoughts on world from an international perspective, maybe a little Disneyland, because I love talking Disneyland since I first got there. God, I fell in love with that
amazing
place. It is an amazing place. You're so right. But yeah, give us the background. So give us when you went on this trip we're going to talk about tonight, what were the circumstances? I love that you drove, because when you drove, I was thinking, wait a second, you're in England, mainland. And I forgot about the channel. I forgot about that. That's so awesome.
Absolutely. It's a very cool thing.
That'd be so awesome. Okay, so give us the background on this trip, how to come together.
So the background, you may be surprised to know this was a COVID delayed trip.
Everyone, hang on, I gotta give you the bell because it's like we got like 28 shows in a row. That's the
absolutely. So this was planned. We were taking my daughter, who's 18 years old, and we wanted to take her best friend who'd never been to Disney, but has always wanted to go. They've discussed this trip to Disney since they were 4. So we wanted to do this trip. It got cancelled with COVID. It got cancelled the second time. And then in May this year, I needed to go to France to see a customer of mine, so on business. So it was kind of it was trying to do it as cheaply as possible. So work paid for the petrol, work paid for the tunnel, work paid for some accommodation. So yes, it was so I did a very quick 1-hour meeting in France, and then ran out and shot down to Paris. Shot down to Disney.
That's a smart guy. That's how you do it.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Right. Exactly. Okay, so
now I just need to find more customers in Orlando, and then I'll be sorted.
Exactly right. Why do you think I got into travel? It's a business.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I do. Okay, so how much input, since your daughter was 18, her friend was going, it's business adjacent trip, but did they have any input in the planning, in like what the itinerary was going to be, where you were going to stay, stuff like that? Or did you just lay it all out and just get in and here we go? Yeah, good.
They just, do you want to go to Disney? Yes. And that's the end of that. We do the rest.
That's good stuff. Okay, so tell us about the travel down. It's not hard. I mean, it's 500-mile drive. pretty simple? Or
No, it's dead easy. You book the tunnel, you drive to Dover, you get there, and they basically just put you, irrelevant of what time you book, they just put you on the next available train. They run every hour. You go through customs, you just swap passports on the way through, and you're there. 30 minutes it takes. You drive onto a train, it goes dark for 30 minutes, and then you come out the other end and you drive off the train.
It's like a movie. It's crazy.
It's
I gotta
fantastic.
do it. Oh my God, I gotta do
Yeah,
it. I gotta do
it's a really good way to travel.
I gotta get outside the States. I get on cruises, that's it. I gotta yeah, man, I'm getting my passport tomorrow now after talking. This is awesome. Because I watch Amazing Race and I see stuff and I'm like, oh God, I gotta do
Yes.
this. Yeah, gotta do okay. So you get there. Okay, so talk to us about the actual Disneyland Paris vacation. So you guys arrive, what happens?
Yeah.
How's it unfold?
So I mean, normally, to be honest, this is the first time ever that we've not stayed on property. So Disneyland Paris, if you look at it on a map, it's basically a giant big circle and with a kind of a giant ring road around the outside. And inside is the parks. There are 7 hotels, ranging from the Disneyland Hotel, which is the one we prefer to stay at, down to the Santa Fe, which is the most economy one. But they've also built a small town called Marne-la-Vallée, which is basically, it's a giant apartment complex, and everybody's bought hundreds of thousands of apartments, which are basically all rented out to holiday goers. Nice. They've also got a shop, an outlet there, an outlet mall, which I've never been to because it's shopping and it's why.
Well, hang on. I've always heard that British people have to go to outlet malls. I mean, that's just something in Orlando, isn't that?
In Orlando, absolutely
required. Like exactly. Yeah. Like I went there one time and I was the only person that didn't have an accent. You know, what's going on?
Yeah, no, we have to go to outlet malls in Orlando because we need to buy 30 pairs of Levi's and 25 pairs of sneakers, and because they're all about a fifth of the price in England.
I love it. That's awesome. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So yeah, no, that's fine. Don't worry. So yeah, because work was involved in the funding of this, I didn't think Disney Newport Bay Hotel would look good on the receipt. So we rented in a 2-bedroom apartment. And it was literally, I mean, you probably could walk to the entrance. It would be about a 15-minute walk. But we drove because we got free parking. And so, yeah, it's 5 minutes. So it's incredibly easy.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So you guys get, finally it's time to go to the theme parks. Walk us through, especially from my perspective. Ricky's told me about it because Ricky never stops talking that she got to go to Disneyland Paris.
Yes.
I mean, that's her humble brag. And I get it, man. I'd be the same way. It's pretty cool. But what's it like for, and try to draw some comparisons to folks that have been to Walt Disney World or Disneyland so they can kind of relate. You get to Disneyland Paris. How does the day unfold? I mean, it's going to be similar to the Magic Kingdom or Disneyland, right?
Yeah. I mean,
is that where you went first?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of parks, it's probably it's nearest to Disneyland, California, because both parks, you come out of the car park or you arrive at the central hub, and basically you go through security, and if you turn left, you've got Disney Village, which is a long street with a Planet Hollywood and a Rainforest Cafe and some shops and sports bar. And if you turn right, you've got a kind of a central hub where you've got Hollywood Studios off to your left and Disneyland off to your right. So they're a 5-minute walk between the two. So it's more similar to Disneyland than it would be Florida. We always go to Magic Kingdom. It's a tradition that my wife has to get onto Main Street. She has to listen to the music, look down Main Street, see the castle.
Yes.
And it's as identical to Orlando as it could be, really. We went with some friends last November and they'd only been to Florida twice. And they went to Paris for the first time, and my friend was walking around going, oh my God, we're in America. It's literally like being in America. And it's no different. The only thing that you notice is when you speak to somebody and you have a French accent as opposed to French, not quite as happy and jolly as the normal American cast members is all I could say about that.
So real quick though, on the language, is English spoken everywhere throughout the entire
Yes.
theme park, the resort
Yeah.
property? Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I suppose on the rides and things, they mix it. So the rides you'll get, so Remy, for example, we went on Remy, which is obviously all in English. And I mean, I've never done it in Orlando yet, but we've done it in Paris, and half of the talking is in English and half of the talking is in French. But I suppose as Disney is so wonderful at storytelling, you kind of don't need it.
Yeah, true.
You can work out what's going on visually. It's amazing, and most of the rides are the same. They've all got some French in there, but then they've also got English.
That's cool. That's cool. And you know, it, is an American going over there, if I were to experience that park, my perspective would be I wouldn't have any problem with there being French in the
No,
attractions
no,
because,
absolutely.
that makes it authentic, right? I mean, I went to Disneyland Paris. I didn't go over to Europe to go to Disneyland
Yes,
California or, the
yeah,
Magic Kingdom Orlando. I went to have a more exotic or a
yeah.
different take on the Disney destination. Now, I do know that Disneyland Paris does have the most beautiful, castle of them all. I mean, do you
It
agree with that?
it is our favorite. Yeah, it is our favorite, definitely. It's, I mean, it's just massive. The castle itself is huge. It's beautiful. The topiary trees around it are stunning. There's a animatronic dragon underneath it, which you can go and have a look at, which is incredible. It is, yeah, it is the best castle.
That's what I always hear, and
I mean,
I've seen the pictures. Yeah.
Walt didn't build it, so it's a tough call between California and Paris with my wife because
It's
she's
true.
obsessed.
That's a good point though, because I always heard, when you go to Disneyland, because I went for the very first time this past July, and everybody told me, look, you've been going to Walt Disney World for 20 years. You're going to be underwhelmed when you go down Main
Yes,
Street and you see the castle. But you know what? It was the opposite for me. Like I
yeah,
felt the castle was tiny, right? But it was authentic. It was Walt's
yes,
castle. I mean, I
absolutely,
fell in love with that little sucker. Like, I mean,
yeah,
it was cute. Like, I want to put it in my pocket and like take it home with me back to Missouri. It was just, it was perfect, really. I
yeah,
mean, it wasn't overwhelming like Paris or Magic Kingdom.
yeah,
It was, it served its purpose. It was amazing. So, okay, so let me ask you about attractions around
yes.
Disneyland Paris. So, what are the things that you enjoy the most? Your daughter, her friend, your wife. Give some thoughts on that for folks.
I suppose rides. I mean, we've always had the theory with whenever we go, it's basically just do what the kids want. Happy kids, happy holiday. So we
Absolutely.
go wherever they want to go, whether they want to turn left at the top of Main Street or right. It makes no difference to us. I suppose the first attraction we always go on is Big Thunder Mountain, which I would have to say is the best Big Thunder Mountain. Having been on three of them, it goes under the lake to get you onto the mountain on the other side of the lake, and it's just long and it's fast and it's just great fun ride. Space Mountain, I'm borderline getting a little bit too old for Space Mountain now. It's
Same. I'm raising my hand because I love it, but it doesn't love me back anymore.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very different to the Orlando one. It's
Yeah, yeah.
it you shoot off.
It looks so cool with that thing
I
on
mean,
the
it's
outside.
fantastic, and
Oh,
yeah,
man. Yeah.
and now it's had the hyperspace. It's had the Star Wars overlay, so that's fun. But it's yeah, the back doesn't thank me when I get off that one
Me
anymore.
neither. Takes me
But
5
yeah,
minutes to get out of the Orlando one anymore. I'm just like
yeah.
just tipping out. It's okay.
Absolutely. So yeah, so that's fun. I suppose we miss things like Splash Mountain. We don't have a wet ride because it's too cold,
Right.
predominantly. We don't have Jungle Cruise, which I love. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, we've got It's a Small World, and we've got the main ones.
Have you ever been there when there's been snow on the ground at Paris? Because I've seen the pictures, and that would be just
Yes.
that would be so like my mind wouldn't be able
Yeah.
to process like snow in a
It's
Disney park.
We went. I'm trying to think how long. Probably about 15 years ago, we went for New Year, and we were staying at the Disneyland Hotel, and the Disneyland Hotel basically straddles the entrance to the park. So we sat having breakfast in the Disneyland Hotel on New Year's Day, looking straight down Main Street. The snow started and it was falling incredibly heavy. There were characters wandering around wishing us happy new year. It was literally the perfect start to the day. We then left and went down Main Street. The snow was about 2 inches thick at this point. It was just beautiful. I mean, it was just absolutely perfect until we decided to go on Dumbo the Flying Elephant, where I got a facial being attacked by snow. It was like being in a blizzard. It was not well thought out at all, but it was fun. It was good.
It was fun till it wasn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great though. You know what? If Walt Disney World could come up with a way to package that snow package, that would be like the ultimate up snow. Like,
It
they have
couldn't be
snow.
better.
Exactly. I mean, like, we're not doing a character breakfast. We're doing the snow on Main Street breakfast.
Yeah,
And then you can walk
absolutely.
down Main Street with a hot cocoa in your hand. Only
Yeah, it was perfect.
$799 a person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately,
It sounded like a Christmas card.
yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, on this trip in May, when it should have been nice and sunny, which it was for the first 2 days, day 3, we had a snowstorm, which completely out of the blue, completely freezing cold, completely unprepared in clothing and attire. So we spent the 3rd day very wet, very cold. But with my 18-year-old daughter and a 19-year-old friend dancing around Disney streets singing Let It Snow, which was,
That's what it's about.
absolutely.
And you know what? That's the memory that you make, right? You're going to talk
Mm.
about that 20 years from now. You're going to say, remember that trip where everything was rolling right along. And then all of a sudden,
Absolutely.
Jack Frost showed up and it
Yeah.
got cold and it snowed and we made the best of it. We froze,
Yeah.
but you know what? You don't remember the negative 10
Yeah,
years from now.
absolutely. No,
Remember the
never.
memories. I love that. So this is so fun. Okay, so let's talk about dining too in
Yes.
Disneyland Paris. So what are some of the places not to miss if you go over there? Maybe some unique dining opportunities that you guys have that we don't have stateside.
Yeah, I mean, we always eat. We probably always eat at a place called Plaza Gardens, which we did this time, which is the Parisian version of Crystal Palace. So it's in the same place. It's normally character. It's a buffet meal. It's very nice. We always eat there, and we did this time, and that was great. We also generally try and eat at a place called Captain Jack's, which is the Parisian version of the Blue Bayou. So it's in Pirates of the Caribbean, and it is. I don't think I've eaten. I can't remember whether I ate at the California one. I don't think we did. But it's fantastic. The theming is spectacular. The boats are going by while you're sat eating. I'd have to say that this trip, the meal was a little disappointing. It was probably the only disappointment really of the trip. But I think that it was a COVID issue. I think Paris were having staffing issues, the same as everybody else has had staffing issues. They were struggling with staff. It just wasn't the perfect meal, but normally it's fantastic. The food's great. We like that one.
That sounds like a place I'd love to go to because I fell in
Yeah.
love with Blue Bayou out at Disneyland. I was just like, this is because I had a Monte Cristo, we had a hurricane. It's like this is,
Yeah.
I mean,
Fantastic.
life is good. And I
Yeah,
stayed with my best
absolutely.
friends and my family. Yeah, it was just it was amazing. Now you mentioned characters and character meals. What I've always heard, like especially over in Japan, how the character interactions are so different. Are they different at Disneyland Paris as far as how guests interact with characters, or is it very similar to the United States?
No, I'd say it's very similar. I've not really ever noticed a difference. I think I'm just trying to think. No, I'd say it is very similar. They're quite full on sometimes. We were there again. This was a New Year trip, quite a few years ago in Paris, and we were at Cafe Mickey, which is it's closed now. It's being renovated into something else, but it was in the Disney Village, and that was a character, and the characters were livelier and bouncier than ever, and they were jumping around and dancing. And we basically finished our meal. We were standing up to leave, and we were just approaching the exit, and Goofy basically stood in front of me and opened his arms to give me a massive hug. So I gave him a hug. He then wouldn't let go. So I then wouldn't let go. So then probably 30 seconds later, we're basically rolling on the floor having a wrestling match. There were
Okay.
kids. My wife said it was the most hilarious thing because we just eventually stood up and shook hands, and it was like, okay, bye-bye then. There were kids looking traumatized. There were.
Nowadays, that gets 78 million views on TikTok.
Absolutely. I'd have been a legend.
You'd have been like the goofy wrestling guy.
Absolutely. But yeah, so yeah, the character's very similar to America. Very similar.
Except for that.
Yeah, I've never had a fight in America with a character.
I've never seen that. I'm just saying.
No,
that'd be awesome though. I'm not against it. That'd be hilarious. But yeah,
it was fun. I'm not sure the Goofy's minder was particularly impressed at the time, but there you go.
Goofy might have been celebrating a little before his shift for the new
Possibly.
year.
Yeah, may have celebrated a bit too hard.
I don't know. Anyway, so okay, so man, this is so fun. So now, do you go to the other parks? I mean, because I've always heard, the Studios Park at Disneyland Paris. I mean, everybody dumps on it, right? I mean, is it?
Yes.
What are your thoughts? I mean, I don't want to sway either way. I mean, is it as bad as people say, or I mean, are there some saving graces? I mean, what do you say?
At the moment, yes. I'd have to agree with it. It is. It's not the greatest park. I mean, it will be. It used to be better before they shut quite a sizable portion of it to make the Avengers Campus, which has just opened. So we're going back seeing that in about 10 days. So that Scott would approve of that because they've taken Rock and Roller Coaster and they have given it a revamp and it's now Avengers themed. It's the same ride, but it's now no longer Aerosmith. So he'd be happy with that. So I'm looking forward to that one. But yeah, to be honest, when we were there was only really 3 rides to do. There was Tower of Terror, which is, I have to say, my favorite Tower of Terror. It has a terrifying overlay. They've got rid of the family. It just has the really, really creepy little girl. Just really creepy. Just basically stands there and says, "Don't scream." And then you just shoot off and then comes back. And then it's just really, really creepy.
Between the little girl and your Goofy there. I'm never
absolutely.
I'm having nightmares tonight about Paris.
Yeah, no, it's fun. But then we've got Crush's Coaster there, which is a brilliant ride. I have to say, it's great fun. The queues are always is the only issue. It's always about between 100 and 130 minutes.
Right.
It's just too long to queue. It's always the longest queue. Then we've got Remy, which is fun. And that's it, to be honest. It's very much lacking. I think it will be a brilliant park. Avengers is built now, so that's open. There's 2 more rides there. We're getting, they're building a massive new lake and they're building Arendelle. So we're going to get the full castle. And then there's a third bit, which we were told was going to be Galaxy's Edge, which apparently has been cancelled now.
Yeah. I think that would be a big plus for you because
that would have been massive.
Everybody likes Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It's going to be a lot better from what I've been reading.
Yes.
But, I mean, I remember, and you probably do too, because you're a big Disney fan. In the course of our podcast, because we started back in 2008, there was that time period where Disney's Hollywood Studios was, a total disaster.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was a park that we told people, you do not want to go to Disney's Hollywood Studios. There's absolutely nothing to do at this park. I mean, because everything's under construction. It's going to be, we always said it's going to be great in like 3 years, but it's a mess right now. And now, I mean, look at the jewel that it is at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hopefully that's what happens for your Studios park as well.
Absolutely.
That's cool. Okay. So give us some more though about Paris. Like, what are your likes? What are your dislikes? What are your tips maybe for folks that are going there for the first time?
We, for the first time ever, which is bizarre considering the amount of time we've been with this trip, for some reason, I decided to research annual passes. I think it's because I've always listened for the last 4 years. I've listened to you guys talk about annual passes and how good they are. So we looked into it. And for this trip, my wife and I both bought annual passes. And there are some brilliant things about it. You get discounts on all your food. You get discounts on shopping. You get free parking. and obviously you get free entry.
Mm-hmm.
So that is excellent. And I think on this trip, you also get free. They're not free. You also get discounted tickets for family and friends. So a normal day ticket is about €110, which is about at the minute about $110, and they're about €50.
Oh, that's a nice discount. Yeah.
So a massive discount. So we bought annual passes for myself and my wife, and then with the tickets that we bought for the kids and all the discounts on food and the discounts on shopping, we saved about £300 on this trip. And we've now got ticket. This is the wonder of Disney math. So we now have free tickets for our trip next week, which will still end up costing me £1,000 somehow. But hey, it's
exactly. It's going to cost you airfare. It's going to cost you
absolutely.
It's going to cost you lodging, but you're going to come out ahead because you have an annual pass.
Absolutely, yeah, without a doubt, well ahead. But yeah, there's a few things that were irritating about it. You have to pre-book the Disney the park reservation, but you're only allowed to book 3. And we're going next week for 4 days. Well, we're there for 3 days, but 1 evening, and we can't book the evening just in case we can't book one of the other days. So you kind of, it's not ideal at the moment, which is a COVID thing that's come in, which I know Orlando's got the same issues, haven't they?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the theme park reservations myself,
No.
because the thing is, it's just we're too soon removed from just the days where if you have an annual pass, you just go down, you land and like, okay, here comes the bus to Epcot.
Yes.
Who's going to go to Epcot? Because it's the day I got in. I got in at 5:00 in the evening. There's 3 hours left in the night. I don't care where I go.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
I miss that flexibility. Let me ask you about this too, because I sincerely don't know, because we can't book Paris as travel agents. I don't work with it. Do you guys have a Genie Plus or some kind of a system like that to kind of avoid wait times like we do here in the States, or a Fast Pass anymore, or anything like that?
No, we used to have a Fast Pass system, which basically, oh God, I'm trying to remember how it works. I think when you stayed at one of the nice hotels, so you stay at the Disneyland Hotel or the Hotel New York, which were the deluxe ones, I guess, you used to get 2 Fast Passes per day for any of the rides that have Fast Pass. And then it was a good old fashioned take your ticket to a machine, put your ticket in, and you get a Fast Pass for a few hours in advance. And then once you'd use that Fast Pass, you could then go to another machine and get a Fast Pass from somewhere else.
I miss those days. I still miss
just
those
worked.
It did. It was so easy. And you know what? I was always the person in the family I had to schlep like across the park to get the next one, because it would say you can get your next Fast Pass at 10:14.
Yeah,
Even if you didn't use it. And so this was back when I had the Nokia. This is how long ago it was, like the Nokia, like a candy cane or candy bar phone.
Yeah.
So I'd always set my little alarm for like the next window when it opened.
Absolutely.
Okay, sorry guys, I'm going over to Everest and we're gonna get us Fast Passes.
Yeah.
And then later in the day, man, we had a pile. I was like, Scrooge McDuck. I was just like, here we go. We're not waiting in a line from 3:00 on the rest of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. But the problem, it just worked. It basically gave everybody in the park the same chance to get Fast Passes, as opposed to make you get up at 7:00 in the morning. Oh, sorry, the last time we went to Florida, it was get up at midnight every night for 14 days to go on and try and book your 3 Fast Passes at your park, and it was just.
And that's not ideal. You're supposed to be on vacation, right? I mean, you're not supposed to be working. And I mean, no matter how you slice it or dice it, I mean, we'll just call it what it is. You're working. And not to mention that it's stressful. You go on vacation to separate yourself. I've seen those memes on social media, right? Like, oh man, I can't wait to go to Walt Disney World to get away from it all. And then you see, like a person standing in the middle of Fantasyland with all of humanity in a line for, Peter Pan. It's like 3 hours long, and kids like, okay, well, you want to get away from the stress, and this does not look like you're
absolutely
not stressed. And I just think all these layers add to it. And one of the other things you mentioned with the old Fast Pass system that I really do miss is just that it was built into the price of admission, right? I mean, because I didn't mind paying a premium for my ticket, and tickets are expensive. You just mentioned it. I mean, they still are. They're very expensive per day when you go to a Disney park. but I didn't mind if it was very expensive because that was an inclusion. It just kind of
Yeah.
bothers me now that because I still haven't bought Genie Plus for Walt Disney World because I go enough that it doesn't. If I don't ride something, I don't
Yeah,
care.
absolutely.
But it's one of those things at Disneyland I did because I hadn't ridden it. I
Yeah.
want to ride everything a million times. Everything was
Yeah.
new. So okay, so
Yeah.
go
At
ahead. Yeah.
Paris now, they've changed it, so it's basically I can't even remember what it's called, but it's the same as Lightning Lane. So every attraction, there is no fast pass system. There is nothing other than you can pay to get in the ride.
So it's like the individual lightning lanes where
Yeah,
they
basically individual
individual
lightning
lanes.
lanes. They range from 10 to 20 euros, I think, per person per ride. Which, there is a ultimate fast pass, which I think it costs about 100 euros per person, and that gets you on every major attraction once per day, or
Nice.
for the day.
See, I'm not against the individual lightning lanes because I think that those kind of fit it. Just this is just my whole opinion on things. Like if say you have a first timer or somebody that really
Yeah,
wants to go on Rise the Resistance and you just don't have this is the only day you're going to be at the studios.
yeah,
Is it worth $20 to ride it so that they get to ride it
absolutely.
before they go back to England or go back to wherever they're going, North Carolina, even wherever they're going? Like at least they get that opportunity for $20. $20
Yeah.
is worth it. But I don't have to do it. Like I can
No, absolutely.
an option. Like I don't nobody's making me,
No,
so
I mean, we're going in 10 days to Paris again, and it's just my wife and I that are going. And I think we will now the kids have grown up and rarely come with us. We will holiday differently, and we like to sit and chill, and we like to watch the world go by, and we like to watch all the shows and rides. If we go on a ride, we go on a ride. If the queue's busy, we won't. We've done them all so many times. It's not the end of the world. Having said that, the two new Marvel rides, the web slinger ride and the new rock and roller coaster, I can't remember what it's called. If the queues are massive, I'll pay to go on them because I haven't been on them.
well, plus, I mean, and to be honest, on a vacation, time is money, right? I mean, if you
Yeah,
get to take back 4 hours, 2 hours
yeah,
here, 2 hours
absolutely.
there. I mean, it's worth $40.
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, I'd pay $40 for 4 more hours to relax and not have to stand in
yes,
line, Phil. But yeah, I totally get it. Okay, let me ask you a couple things before we get out of here about stateside, your perspective, because you have all this experience at Disneyland Paris.
yes.
When you come over to Walt Disney World, what are some of the things that you enjoy the most about Walt Disney World in Orlando? What are your favorite? Like maybe a hotel? I don't even have to stay on site, but is there a
Uh,
hotel? Is there a park? Is there an attraction? What are your favorites down there?
I think it's just the sheer size of it. It's just the scale of it. It's ginormous. I mean, we've never. Because I think it's because of how we holiday. We've never stayed on site in Orlando, which seems a bit bizarre. We will do now. We haven't got the kids because my wife and I are more fixated on Disney than they are. They want to go to the Universal and they want to go to International Drive and play crazy golf or putt you call it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they want to go shopping and they want to do lots. They do different things. So whenever we go, if we go to Florida, we'll be there for 2 weeks. At least I think the last time we were there for 3 weeks.
That's
So
awesome.
3 weeks in a Disney.
Yeah, that's a long time. Not even in the Grand
It's
Floridian, it is a long time, and that's a lot of money. That's like
a
buying a
lot
house.
of money. Yeah, it's a lot of money. Whereas we can book a villa for a
Yeah.
couple of £1,000, and it's got a pool, and that's how we've always done it. But I just love driving into Disney. I love the just how immaculate everything is. The road signs are different. Just the sheer size of the place. It amazes me every time we come.
This is what I love though, because you're over in England.
Yeah.
I'm dead in the center of the United States. I mean, I'm as far from, big city as we come.
Yes.
And we have the exact same perspective on Walt Disney World. I love that it's its own city, that it has its own
Yes.
infrastructure, just how it functions. That it's got the buses are all kind of uniform looking.
Yeah.
It's got its own transportation system.
Absolutely.
It's efficient. Everything's clean. The medians all look nice. The
Yeah.
road signs are all
Yeah.
different but uniform. Yeah, that kind of stuff. The logistics of the place are what
Yeah.
just blow me away every
Yeah.
when I get there.
It's
It's like,
incredible.
just like when I drive under the sign, I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. I
Yeah.
just don't want to leave. I just want to
Yeah.
stay and take it in the whole time. Now, you mentioned
Definitely.
Disneyland. So, what did you like about Disneyland? Because different perspective, because it's right there in Anaheim. But I
Yes.
mean, it's Walt's Park. I mean, I literally felt Walt when I was there in July. I don't know how it was for you.
Yeah, we did. I mean, it is literally you just as soon as you arrive and you see the Mickey head at the entrance gate, and it's kind of Walt stood there, and when you get onto Main Street and you see just all the detail that he had a hand in, that was part, but mainly down to him, just the obsessive detail to get everything absolutely spot on. We and my wife kind of nerded out on some Disney books before we went to California, so she knew what his favorite horse was on the carousel, or his wife's favorite horse on the carousel, so she got to ride on that. And you just feel closer to Walt, I suppose.
Yeah, you do. I mean, my wife, she's not the big Disney nerd. She puts up with it for my sake. She's love her to death. The best wife in the world, because she loves the vacations,
Yeah.
but she doesn't get I told her, like, we have to go on Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is like a poor man's American Adventure. Like, this is old. I'm like, that's why it's awesome. And then she's like,
Yeah.
why are you taking a picture of that bench? I'm like, this bench is the bench where Walt sat and saw the carousel. He got the idea for Disneyland.
Absolutely.
She's like, it's a bench. I'm like, but it's the bench, and it's that's what Disneyland was for me.
Yeah.
It's like you can replicate those things and have reproductions at Walt Disney World and tell the stories, which there's a place for that. But I mean, the history was
Yeah.
it wasn't reproduced at Disneyland. Like, that was Main Street that Walt walked down in the pictures. It wasn't, some reproduction. Oh man, I loved it.
No, there is something totally magical about Disneyland. It is. I think, having been to 3 of them, I think, I mean, it's a tough call because there is so much to do at Orlando, and we've been to Orlando more, but I do think California, just wandering around Disneyland in California was, I think, my favorite park that I've been to.
Right now, it's my favorite. Absolutely right. But I mean, again, I'm so bad about my last experience. You asked me, what's your favorite hotel? It's always the last one I stayed at. I've done that over the years so many times, but it was just like, I love the Matterhorn bobsleds, even though you're mentioning like Space Mountain.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to call the paramedics before, like, when they dispatch the sled. Like, call the paramedics now and tell them to meet me back in this same spot in 3 minutes, because I might have a broken rib.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I loved it. Oh my gosh. So this has been so fun. So we got to wrap, because I mean, it's the middle of the night for you. And I, again, apologize and thank you.
Oh no, it's absolute pleasure.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun for me. But any tips though, especially for Americans that maybe, because I know you got people excited. You got me excited. I'm ready to get a passport and get over there. So if I were headed over, Americans that are headed over, any other folks that are listening, like, what do they need to know about Disneyland Paris to make it the most it can be for them, that you've learned, because you've been so many times?
I don't know. I mean, it's just, to be honest, it's no different than planning an American trip. It is as easy as that. I think, like I say, I think the only thing that we've learned over the years, if you're going with kids, is literally let the kids plan the day as much as possible, but fitting in with trying to get on certain rides and things like that. I mean, some of our some of our funnest memories have been where we've wandered into a shop and the kids have bought a little Lightning McQueen toy car, and then we've sat in a corner on Main Street and he's playing with the car on the street for 2 hours while we just sit chilling with a hot chocolate and and he's happy. And when the kids are happy, we're happy. So it's
that is 100% true. And you'll never read that in a guidebook.
Nope.
And you won't hear people talk about it, but that's the joy. And it's, it's like you go to a swimming pool at a hotel and the kid plays with the beach ball.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
The beach ball is what they talked about when they go back to school. The teacher has them write about, okay, where did you go over the summer? Well, I played with a beach ball at the pool. Didn't you go to Walt Disney World? Yeah, but I played with the beach ball at the pool. Okay, well, you just spent $5,000 for you to play with a 99-cent beach ball in a pool. Okay, well,
yeah.
but those are, and you may bring up a great point though. You got to give time for those opportunities
Yes.
to happen. If you're like, we're here and like we're here to do 19 attractions today,
Yeah.
you miss those opportunities. So that's a good
Yeah,
point.
you do. I mean, we've done it. We've done it when you're short on time, and I know when you've not been before, you want to see everything, and I get that. But it can become a bit of a chore sometimes as you're charging round, and kids get cranky, and adults get cranky, and I think sometimes you just gotta relax and chill out and enjoy the atmosphere.
Absolutely. Well, Julian, hey, I appreciate you so very much. It's very nice to meet you, and thank you for
Absolute
starting the week.
pleasure.
This is a great way to start a Monday, and you take care over in England, and I really hope that we get to cross paths sometime in real life soon.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Mike.
All right, cheers. Hey, don't forget today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. Check them out for all your Disney trip planning needs. We don't book Disneyland Paris, but we can get you hooked up with Disneyland, Walt Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney. Drop by the website today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. It's one extra click that really helps us out this holiday season. BeOurGuestPodcast.com/Amazon. And a sincere thank you to the patrons of the Be Our Guest Podcast. You make all these shows possible. You let us put these podcasts out all around the world 3 to 4 times a week. And I sure appreciate that. If you'd like to join us and get that bonus show every Tuesday called Mike in the Midwest, come on over, patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. You can give me a follow on the social media this week. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike on Instagram and Twitter. Would love to talk to you over there. And don't forget, this Sunday night, we open up the phone lines. Scott joins me if he doesn't go somewhere like he did last time. But we're going to have a good time taking your calls. Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. It will have been dark for like 3 hours by then. So come on over. It's crazy right now. And join us, YouTube or Facebook. Phone lines are open. The show gets turned over to you. Let's talk Disney Sunday night. All right, time to get out of here and let you get on with your Monday. We'll be back again on Wednesday with more of your listener questions. But for now, for Julian, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Monday. Time to get back to work. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Man, I'm glad I got that computer running because that was so much fun.
That was excellent. That was great fun.
Thank you so much, Julian. I
Absolute
really
pleasure.
Staying up late. I feel terrible.
No, honestly, it's a pleasure. I can do it when I'm at Disney, so it's fine.
Hey, don't be a stranger. If you ever need anything, you give me a call, and I really hope maybe we're down there at the same time sometime.
That would be great.
I'll buy you a beer in the UK or something. I don't know.
Don't worry, we're planning. My wife and I have just decided we want an Alaskan cruise next. I think that will be our next thing.
I want to do one too. I've never done that either. I'm platinum on Disney Cruise Line, but never done Alaska.
Yeah, no, we definitely want to do. I desperately want to do a cruise, and if we're gonna, and my wife agreed tonight. Well, if I'm gonna do a cruise, it's gonna be on a Disney ship. So,
oh my God, dude, I'm telling you what, they're so awesome and they're addicting and they're expensive, but they're addicting. Oh, they're so nice. They're so good. Just be careful before you start another addiction. I'm just telling you.
Why not?
I know, seriously.
There's no kids now, so it's fine.
That's true.
Half the price.
3 more years and mine's out. You know, she's a freshman in high school, so we'll be.
Yes. Congrats on Paige, by the way. I listened to the listener questions. That's awesome.
It is pretty cool. See, I didn't know this, but her team, because she started with this new university this season, they had lost 20 games in a row before that win.
Oh no!
I know they only won.
Well, she can only do good.
That's what I told her. I'm like, you win 4 games this entire season. You're a hero, man. They're going to put a statue in front of the university. He's like, whatever. But yeah, you just get excited for your kids.
Absolutely.
Hey, well, I appreciate you, and don't be a stranger. It's so great to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Cheers.
You have a good one.
You
Cheers.
too. Bye.